No athlete actually gets paid.
That's shocking.
Yes, the way they will treat you, it's horrible. The sports industry in India is now getting massive, and it's not post COVID. It started maybe around 2014, 2015.
I stumbled upon a report which said 61,000 crores were given to the sports sponsorship in India. 85% of those sponsorships were given to cricket. In spite of having all of this, how did you manage up getting sponsorship?
It's sad when an athlete comes and asking for a job.
People are like कि यार क्या मिलेगा तुमको क्रिकेट खेल a very saddening event where 11 of the members died.
What has happened was tragic. Why people are not managed well.
But when it comes to the selection processes were biased.
We're not giving them justice.
Welcome to yet another episode of Satya Manthan. Today, we're going to dive deep into an industry that is unexplored from the business perspective. आज हम sports industry में business कैसे चलता है, उसका ecosystem कैसे बदलता है, कैसे consumers लाए जाते हैं और किस तरीके से athletes उस एनवायरनमेंट में सर्वाइव करते हैं, इन सब चीजों के बारे में बात करने वाले हैं. तो आज का एपिसोड बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग होने वाला है बिकॉज वी हैव अ गेस्ट विद अस, अ स्पेशल पर्सन हु हैज रिप्रेजेंटेड इंडिया एट इंटरनेशनल लेवल. And not only this, he has represented India in a niche game that most of us never talked about. So he has taken an untaken path, and this definitely led to this podcast, which gave me an interest to explore more about the sports journey and dive deep into businesses sports industry में कैसे चलते हैं. So if anyone or any of your friends are interested towards exploring opportunities of businesses in sports, this episode could be helpful for you. So do not forget to share it with someone who's interested in sports. Today on the guest side, we have Unnat Sangle. He has represented India in international level beach tennis. And this is not just one sport that he has played. He has been playing multiple sports. So we'll talk a lot about how Unnat has paved path to his sports journey and what else he has done to be at this level today. So hi Unnat, welcome to Satya Manthan.
Well, hi Saakshi. I'll be honest. This introduction makes me feel there is a pressure on my shoulder, but I will do justice.
Oh wow.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I think I think honestly the audience will definitely get to know a lot more, and I will try to help them any which ways. So let's see.
Wow, thank you for holding that truthfully, because Satya Manthan is all about running truthful conversations, right? Okay, so the idea of this podcast is not just to do a podcast or make it a marketing gimmick around the market, but it's more about giving information to people about the different business industries and the domains that exist. So with this, we always expect that the flow of our talk could be conversational, where we'll be just loving to talk to each other, right? Okay, so that you don't have that baggage carrying on your shoulders alone, I'll participate too, I promise for that, right? So moving forward, like where you said that you have a history into playing beach tennis. Now this is a niche sport, especially in a country like India, जहाँ पे क्रिकेट फैंस तो बहुत है, बट अगर मैं पूछूं किसी को बीच टेनिस अच्छा लगता है क्या, तो मुझे लगता है 10 में से शायद 1 या शायद 100 में से 1, right? So if we see this, I would definitely like to ask you, like ki, how did you came across this career opportunity? Was it just a fluke, just a stumble upon opportunity? Yeah, something was really planned behind this.
Uh, Definitely it was not planned. And we are in the country where sports is not considered as a career option.
Right.
So now that if this concept is there, now imagine now we're putting it as a niche sport and you're taking that as a career option. So definitely there was no thought behind it. I have played nationals in badminton, so I've always been a racket sports player. My brother plays tennis for India, so we have collectively won a lot of medals, and we are doing racket sports as our primary aim. And when we were growing up, of course, that was a dream that I want to represent India. I want to play badminton internationally. That's something that I always pursued. But on the similar side, I was good in studies. So I thought, okay, there was a time where after the injury, I decided, okay, let's not move with badminton, but let's stay closer to the racket sports. Let's stay closer to the sport as an industry, but let's pursue something else. And that always moved me ahead in life. But there was a thought that, okay, there's something missing, and racket sports I have to go back to. So when my brother was actually traveling to Paris, he was there for his tournament. He saw people playing beach tennis, and there was the same time when I can say I was managing him when it comes to tournaments. So I was helping him with the calendars. So every athlete has to get the points, enough points to qualify for the next tournaments. So you have to study really hard where you can actually participate, where the competition will be little less, so you can get more points. Where a country you can decide where they are having multiple tournaments. So your travel and the money is utilized very well, so you get the maximum out of it. So these were the things I used to do, and there is a website like ITF, is a International Tennis Federation. So I used to go there. I used to search for whatever knowledge I can gain out of it to help him. And when he passed this information that there are people playing beach tennis, he called me, and I said, "Okay, what is beach tennis? I have no clue, absolutely no clue." But then I started doing the research. As someone who is from research background, I said, okay, let me dig more. And I went through all the knowledge that I can gain from the website, from the videos. And someone who have played badminton, I said, okay, this is something I can try. That was the initial thought. Okay, I can try this sport. Can we try this sport? So when my brother came back, I was pushing him. Let's try it. Let's try. I don't know what it is. There was no intent that we'll play it professionally, we'll go internationally. No, it was just let's try a new sport. Nobody's playing. Let's try it. Then I think we went to Juhu Beach just for fun. We set up oh, I, and the first one who got the rackets from US. The racket cost was 12,000. I paid custom duty of 25,000. So
Okay,
double.
that's bad.
But it's okay because we were okay to take that risk. Let's try a new sport and we want to try this. So we started playing for fun, and then we realized, okay, this is something we are actually able to grasp, maybe because of our backgrounds. Someone who knows the sport, maybe because of that, we were fast enough to get the knowledge of the racket. But later we just realized, okay, what next? I mean, of course, now that you're playing it, what exactly you're going to do with this? So let's try and compete. So that's how it all started, where we applied for the first tournament in Thailand. We went there. Of course, we were the newbies, you can say, complete first timers, and there are people who are playing this for years. So now you can imagine someone who is good at your sport, but now you're trying a new sport and you're going there and you're losing it. So of course, in hindsight that you are playing it for the first time, but as a sportsman, you feel bad that you're losing. So
Right.
you have to improve. So their coaches, their players used to ask them for tips. Post match, we used to train with them. So whatever we are spending time there, that has to be utilized, because after coming back to India, there's no one who's going to teach us. So we have to be there, learn the sport. So we did whatever we could. I think next year when the tournament, there was a tournament, I think I went 15, 20 days prior to the tournament. I stayed with one of their coaches and I was practicing morning, evening, afternoon just to learn the game. And then when we competed good. So this is how it always goes.
I guess this is the sportsman journey, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, like, you need to keep on learning new techniques, new ways of doing things. So, I mean, quite interesting story. Which was the year in which you played the first time?
2022.
2022.
Yeah, 3 years.
Okay, 3 years back. So very fresh story, right? So I was just researching about the sport before this podcast, right? And although we know that, like, the sport is played approx in 150 countries, right? And but then when it comes to India, and I stumbled upon a report where, like, when it comes to sponsorship of athletes or being sponsorship being given for games, I stumbled upon a report which said that in 2024 approximately 61,000 crores were given to the sports sponsorship in India, right? But having said that, 85% of those sponsorships were given to cricket, right? and the rest 15% were distributed among the other athletes, athletic sports, and other this thing. Having said that, Olympics was a part of last year's journey, right? So, in in spite of having all of this, like, how did you manage up getting sponsorship? I'm sure as a sportsman, you must have also definitely tried to get sponsorships from time to time, right? So, how did you manage to get sponsorship in such a niche sport, or like even if you go for tennis, for example? I mean, still, I would consider it niche, considered to, I mean, comparing it to cricket in India, right?
Um, I think, Sakshi, there are two things I will address. One is how athlete is pursuing the sport.
Hmm.
Second is how people are pursuing the sport. If
Okay.
athlete is not able to understand how people are pursuing, then he will always find it difficult to become a brand, because becoming a brand is the most important you can do. Uh, right now, maybe if whatever unconventional way I'm taking, if I was taking it maybe 20 years back, it would be very difficult. But now you have media, you have social media, you have all sort of media who can help you understand the PR, who can help you understand how important it is that people should value the sport to value you. So even if right now the sport is niche, but if Unnat is contributing, then people around me thinks, okay, the sport is actually big. So it is you who decides, and you need to understand the other side of the table. Uh, and for sponsorship, of course, when the sport is niche, it is very difficult to convince the sponsors. It's very difficult because every person who's on the other side of the table, who's representing that particular brand, they will ask you one simple question. They will ask you 100 questions, but the one question that will be the bottom line: what's in it for me? And if you don't know, you are definitely losing it, and they will not give you what you require.
Right.
When the sport is niche, I think for an athlete who's representing that sport, I think you should build a portfolio. You should get maximum brands. And maybe at the initial stage, this may be not work for everyone, but you should get some barter deals as well. I understand money is the most important, funds are the most important for the athlete, but getting more brands on your portfolio, that shows the other bigger brands that you actually have a lot of small brands trusting on you. And that is the trust. Okay, someone else put money, someone else trusted this guy with products, and that guy is going to make something out of it. That will help you, because the bigger table, the bigger company will say, okay, there are 20 brands already on his jersey. Okay, let me go to him and get signed for me. I can pay him well. That's how it works. So even if you're getting something out of it, trust me, do it, because your sport is niche. What else you can do? For cricket, of course, I think it's always a thing. Not just for me. I think it's for everyone who is representing India non-cricketing sport. Definitely, it is. It is a question that we all encounter. But all of us wants cricket to do well, because that's not just something that. Of course, it's a competition. Sponsors are going there. Everything. But because of cricket, the market is expanding. So even if you understand, maybe 10, 20 years back, when BCCI was not a bigger board, we were not getting money. So of course, the cricket was also struggling. Now we are understanding, okay, now even the Ranji player is getting more than an international tennis player. Definitely, because the game was evolved within the country, and the other sectors like politics, maybe media, anything, even religious, it's all coming towards this, and they are all hyping this game. So why, if the cricketers are doing it, if cricket is doing it, then why can't you?
Yeah.
Your sport has a potential. Make sure that others are listening to you. If they are not, then make sure that you build your ecosystem, and it will work. Definitely, it was not, Rome was not built in a day. So of course, cricket industry in India was not built in a day. So it will definitely be there. But yes, it's your competition. Cricket is getting the hype, and at times it is sad that there's so much money. People are pouring money, even for someone who's representing under 19, and people are hyping. They're giving them ads on the televisions. Great, amazing. But for on the other hand, there are players who are representing India for Olympics. Olympic happens once in a 4 years.
Right.
Cricket World Cup happens almost every year. There is a T20, there is a ODI, there is a now Test Championship. So it's happening every year. So someone who spent their 4 years to go and represent India for Olympics, winning a medal is a different ball game. But to reach there, we're not giving them justice. As a country, we are definitely not helping them. At times, you're pulling them by whatever ways possible, by politics, by asking them questions like how are you getting paid, and a country should help you. But you're also part of country. Are you helping me? Then no. Then it's always gonna be the same thing. So unless people around you are not really supportive, they're not understanding, it's never gonna work out. And if you're not understanding the market of your game, then definitely you're not gonna get money out of any brand.
Right. I think you rightly said where you said that the athlete needs to check on the sport, like, the sports, whichever they are playing, and also the confidence that the athlete shows first in himself is the thing that will follow later. Because somewhere even when I was reading a part of certain reports, I came across a LinkedIn analytics report that said, like, that 80% of the athletes, aside cricket, most of them just die at the grassroots levels because either they don't get that hype or they don't get that name in the game itself, where they are not able to prove themselves that yes, they stand with the game, like, they are lost with the game also, so the game's vibes also goes, and they are lost as a person. So this is something that I have observed. In fact, like, if you see, today, with the built up of personal brands or people becoming more friendly to social media, yes, definitely showing up a face has become one of the norms of running your own brand. Like, where people needs to trust you, they need to know what you're doing, how you're doing it. So, like, we have seen famously, like, the players, like, when it comes to India, it's cricket. When we go to outside countries, it's football players. They have been utilizing their social media profiles for various purposes, right? So when it comes to this kind of an environment where, like, an athlete needs to fight for himself, right? There are few questions that I would like to, like, dive deep into this conversation. I'd like to understand when it comes to sponsorship. Okay, so you just said that, like, we have to go and we have to get the brands, especially like if we can get even in the barter system, right? How many, I mean, what are the brands that you normally think that go for such niche down sports, like, because definitely most of the big brands, they play the big games, right? So, like, whether it be in the form of an IPL that we have seen recently, I mean, the figures go up every single year from the past 18 years, right? And it's amazing how the financial path has been growing continuously when it comes to cricket. But when it comes to other athletic events or other sports for that matter, how do you feel sponsors decide that whether they can actually, like, go in with you or not, even if it's a barter system?
Well, I think earlier the brands used to not used to they always check that how this move going to help me. That was a smaller concept that they used to think is how this exactly going to help me in money. Right now, if you see, the brands are pouring money on any athlete. They're also thinking about branding. They're also thinking about goodwill. They're also thinking about some sort of CSR movement where I'm helping someone. So these things are now, it's like a new age concepts where they are actually going more holistically. So if athlete can crack that, then I think even if he can have at least one of these factors, I think he's good. Because if he doesn't know that what exactly the brand wants, then I think it's always going to be tough. When I say barter, of course, barter helps at the initial stage, because money is the most important thing for an athlete to sustain. Because even if you go and compete and you won a medal or a trophy, the prize money is bare minimum of your traveling to that country, staying there, food, training, everything is bare minimum. So what exactly helps him is sponsorship. So it's simple. It's the bottom line. It's sponsorship. It's always important that brand needs to be aware about your story, your journey. Sports CV is the most important thing. People, I think, lot of athletes lack that. Uh, there will be lot of athletes who will complain and say, "I took a gap 1 year I did not compete. I'm sorry, but I feel you need to play at least one, because that's how the CV works, because how your job CV works.
Right.
Even when after like 2 years or 3 years or 4 years you're playing different tournaments, you lost in this round, you won a tournament, you mention it. When you go in front of the brand, this is the question they will ask. Okay, where is your consistency? Where's your discipline? So brand also look for these things. Earlier, that was not the thing. I was like, okay, I gave you, like, I sent Rahul Dravid for an ad. Okay, Rahul Dravid is a face. Whatever ad that was there creatively. Okay, now we are getting more eyeballs, more penetration. Okay, there is a money. Not directly, but indirectly, we are considering as a conversion. Right now, it's not like that. Right now, it's like A to B. Like getting one influencer on board, okay, getting one athlete on board. An athlete, sorry, but influencers are someone who's doing it uh, and they're acting it. Whereas if for athlete, it's not acting, because I play the sport. So for me, it's my journey. I'm going there, I'm doing this. So when I showed okay, this is the brand I'm endorsing, it's actually the trust. Because even when I'm doing this, at least there are 10-20 people I know who will say, okay, that's a good brand. Right. Because this brand actually invest in this person, because this person's journey was this. So this is very important. You need to actually show them the bigger picture. It's not them actually considering you as a bigger human. It will never work. Nobody knows what exactly you do unless you speak up. Unless you go out and say, okay, this is the journey and this is what I'm playing. This is the level I'm playing. And trust me on it. So if you go and pitch, it will work. If not, then definitely you're going to struggle for next 1-2 more years.
Right.
And I think a recent interview, Prakash Padukone said that it's sad when an athlete comes and asking for a job. And that's how it works. Because in the end, you'll see, okay, I did all of this for what? And that's not fun.
It's not working. Right. Somewhere, that's what I said. Like, mostly 80% of them, they grow at the grassroots level again. So, and your advice is spot on, I think, for newer athletes. Yes, definitely. As so like for me, it's like in comparison to a business pitch. Like, when you go to the investors and when you ask for money, right? Okay. And if you say that 1 year my business operations were all zero, then I don't think so any investor would uh, uh, invest into mentoring you as well, because they'll feel like यार आपका growth mechanism कुछ था भी कि नहीं था, like were you actually a founder or not, right? So I think that is similar to sports for a sportsman.
Here you are the product. So you're not selling a product or a service.
Right.
Here you are the product.
You are the
And
product.
you have to be true to yourself, because if someone is investing on you, then they need to see the results.
Right.
So whatever tomorrow I'll say, I will compete and I will make sure that India will get the first medal in beach tennis because of me. Okay, but what were you doing before? And if you don't have that, then nobody's going to trust you, even if you are capable. I'm not saying, I'm not doubting any athlete. They all have the same potential, because potential is something you have to build. It's a mindset. It will work. But how are you dealing with your surroundings? How are you dealing with these things? That is very important. So if you don't know how to crack that, then I'm sorry. Even if right now I have a brand and I know an athlete, I will not invest on him.
Right. Yeah, that reminds me of a recent example. I mean, a few days back we were having this Norway chess championship for 2025, and recently, Gukesh has got a lot of eyeballs over social media. I don't know how I landed up to this, but I landed up to a lot of content of how Gukesh and Magnus Carlsen have been playing, what all has been happening. Somehow I stumbled upon it, and now that has got so much interest that I'm like, literally watching what's happening between both of them, ultimately Magnus winning the championship, right? So when I was also seeing that, like, that time also I was just thinking, like, the way today Gukesh is being positioned, like, every action that he's taking is in front of the cameras. And somewhere, now I don't know whether the PRs are doing it or how it's happening, or is it happening naturally, but somehow that brand building for Gukesh is already done.
True.
Right?
Yes.
So, like, if I am a For example, if I become a sponsor and if I have to put on my sponsorship money on Gukesh for the next tournament, I would definitely would.
Uh, Absolutely. I mean, I won't say it's just the PR. It's also virality because the videos that have been circulated, it's joy to watch.
Yeah.
So that means what you're doing is very important. So if people are not noticing what you're doing, then there needs to be something you have to do. Of course, now we call it PR, but it's very important because it's virality who's helping us. Uh, Maybe uh, now that you said you being a brand and or you owning a brand, I will invest on Gukesh. Definitely, because that's the part you are actually consuming in your head that okay, this kid is actually gonna help me.
Yeah.
Because everyone is consuming him in a certain way that goes with my brand, or even if it's not going with the brand, it's actually good PR for me to be
associated with him. Like, the videos that I'm seeing, like his, whether it be pointed on his etiquettes, very good to have respect for your seniors or something like, but then everything that is being pointed out somehow, to me, it looks structured. I may be wrong, I don't know. But then somehow it brings on the positive side of the sportsmanship of the sports person. But definitely it comes with the skills that he's playing with. Like, whenever we have seen videos where the way he respects the chessboard, whether he is winning or losing, the way he behaves and learns with his competitors, and then again winning against Magnus. Like, I was again watching one of his videos where he said the most important moment in the whole tournament, this Norway tournament, was only about, like, the match where he won over Magnus, because Magnus Carlsen is a
funny
good
fact,
player.
for Magnus.
Yeah.
The reaction he did, now it's a meme template.
Yeah.
So imagine like it, even if it is a meme template, it is gonna help or it's in the favor of Gukesh. So it works.
It works. Yeah, I mean, it works both the ways. And for Magnus also, it worked. Like, I would say negative PR also works sometimes. So for him also, it works. And he also, like, even in fact, for him also, I was seeing his videos also. Somehow, once you start surfacing, so thanks to Facebook's algorithm, that, like, everything keeps on coming in that motion only. So I was even seeing his videos also, and it was the similar thing. I mean, he's very aggressive as a human, I guess, on like the other Indian players are a little bit on the softer side, but then he has that aggression as his mode of running the game, right? And somehow putting up pressure, and, like, that way. Like we had the South African players in the cricket, I guess.
Yes.
Initially in the 1990s, I remember.
Very similar.
So, right. So that's exactly how, like, I mean, sometimes negative PR also works for a lot of people. Any which ways, speaking about, like, the events and the controversies surrounding the events, there was also one more event that happened recently, and I would definitely like to dive deep into the aspects of how sports is managed in India as a business, because, like, event management is a definitely a big category in India. When it comes to festivities, when it comes to marriages, another section is sports.
Yes.
Right? And unfortunately, we recently witnessed a very saddening event where 11 of the members, like, died. Right? And that was just a stampede over a victory parade when it comes to RCB's winning. So it was very saddening, although, to listen to all those reports. But then somehow, do you feel sports management companies have a responsibility when it comes to an event like this?
Uh, Absolutely, no doubt. And what has happened was tragic. I feel it makes me livid because uh I do not understand how can event be like at such a grand level can be free, and if it is free, then why people are not managed well. That's something that I think it makes me sad. Definitely, event management team or the entire team uh, uh, is responsible. But moreover, it's also us as fans because we are also now, if you see, like this incident is on a scale, it's big. But here and there, every IPL season, there's at least one to news or two news you'll see ki some CSK and Mumbai fan had some fight. So I think it's us who is also glorifying this. I mean, I understand that I support a team and I truly understand, like, I support RCB 18 years. Okay, I'm very happy about it. But there is a way you have to really understand that humans is the most important part. Like, your life is the most important. So you cannot jeopardize that for something that you actually are passionate or you follow it. On the event side, I would say there are basic things. I will give a very small example. Maybe if you are managing, let's say, marathon, okay, there are 5,000 people, 10,000 people, runners that you have, and you know that if it's a, let's say, even if it's a small run, 5 kilometer, let's take it 5 kilometer, you will not have your hydration booth at the beginning of the race, like at the first corner itself, because 5,000 people, even if they all are professionals, they will not have the same pace. They will not keep the same pace because they have a different strategy. Someone will pace up little later. Someone will take a big sprint and maybe cover it later. However, it works. But if at the first corner, everyone will be there. So you're making a stupid mistake that you're making a first booth at the first corner and everyone is now stopping there. That's going to be a stampede. So similarly, if there is a victory parade, it is going to be A to B. So your A and B are the crucial points. They're the choke points. So if you're not managing your A and B, then definitely it's going to be disasters. I know that it was a slab that collapsed that led to people panicking, but people do panic. But what are you doing from the management side? What are you doing from the security side? And if this entire thing, uh, when it was happening, this parade, the players and the CM, they were still in the stadium. They were still celebrating.
Right.
So that is something you have to understand, that you have to stop it. You have to announce the people who are sitting on the other side of the stadium, saying just remain seated. Do not panic. Don't do anything. Just remain seated. So the part that is affected, the people who are maybe inside that chaos, they can be helped. So I'm not saying the 11 people they would have saved. There would be, maybe right now the number is, let's say, 11 died and 30 injured. Maybe it would have been 41 injured. We are good. That these things are very important. But how you manage these things, I don't know. And it's not first time this is happening. I think this is like a in 1 week span, Champions League happened. PSG won after, that's their first Champions League. This first time they won. That's the same thing happened during their victory parade in France. So it's not just us. It's happening everywhere. So there are two responsible, uh, uh, two people who are responsible. One is, of course, from the management. Second is us, because we are not understanding that. So when we are comparing with 1K Day and how victory parade happened in Marine,
Right.
our roads are massive.
Yeah.
It's four lanes. So
Right.
that is 8-lane road. Plus on the, maybe on the Pizza by
On
the
the
Bay
beach
side,
side.
it's one more lane.
Yeah.
And on the Marine Drive, it's 4 more lanes.
Right.
So we can manage the crowd. And if you see 1K Day's entry exit, it's massive. It's big.
It's big.
Chinnaswamy is very small.
Very
The
small.
exit 5 is very small. So even if the parade happened, I'm sure okay, the stampede did not happen. Let's say it did not happen at the entrance. There would be some sort of wrong thing would have happened on the journey, because the streets are narrow. So you have to understand, and you cannot announce it 2 hours prior.
Yeah.
It is stupid.
That was the point that even I read in news reports which said, like, when this victory parade was planned in Wankhede, it was like a 1 month of planning from the authorities, from the civic authorities to the politicians to the organizing committees, everyone, right? But when it comes to this uh, event in which involved RCB, it was just 2 hours of planning. I guess that's something that has come to surface. So again, a very haphazard way of doing such a large event in such a small stadium, which could only, I guess, take only 35,000 seats, right? Whereas lakhs of people turned around. So a very unfortunate event to take care of. That has brought
It's
us
going to be
to
a
life.
case study.
And
Now it's going to be a case study for everyone.
right, right, exactly. And there are definitely various factors where, like, which leads to a collapse of an event or making an event successful. I think, I believe what specifically the event management companies need to take care of is that you are not just managing the celebrity side, but you are also managing the crowd side. Like, because this has happened with a lot of businesses. This is for sports, for example. But then I remember when Diljit did his initial concerts in the starting months of 2025 again. It was like a lot of reports came in where things were not proper, even after giving the gold seating, the arrangements were not proper. Ultimately, he has also announced that till the time India becomes concert friendly, I think we'll have to stop doing large concerts because somehow it hampers the images on the both the sides. If your fans are not getting what they came for, I think it's a failure as an event, right? They're paying some 50,000, 60,000 bucks for a gold seat, and if that privilege is not given to them, which was promised, so that's really something which is heartbreaking when it comes to fans. There's a talent pool in India, right? And the talent pool can be grown with the right kind of coaches, right? But when it comes to the selection processes, there have been events which have surfaced to light which say that the selection processes were biased. Right. And this is not just one sport, it has been a multi sport activity where this has been continuously happening. So I'd not like to pinpoint any one particular sport, but let's take it as a general habit across the industry. I would like to know from your perspective, does these things happen? And if they are happening, how does it hamper an athlete? Because definitely, as you said, when it comes to games like Olympics, for which people literally prepare for 4 to 5 years before going to actually a level where they can represent their country, isn't it heartbreaking when you realize that you are not uh, even in the list? Forget about representing your country.
Uh, Definitely, it is disheartening, and it does affect all of us. But I think I'll go for this question. I will go top to bottom because how many athletes actually know how selection process happened? Let's go to that question, the core
Okay.
question. Okay.
Okay.
So there are couple of authorities that works for sports in India. There is Sports Authority India, there is Sports Ministry, there is Olympic Association India. So how these three units work when it comes to selection?
Okay.
So as an athlete, are you aware of that? Sports Authority India only helps you with the grants. So there are slabs that are made. So at what level you're representing, even when you're representing, there is a criteria that if the competition has 30 plus countries, like your opponents are from 30 different countries, then there is a different amount you can get. If you are playing a World Cup or a Commonwealth or Olympics, there is a different. When you're winning a World Cup or an Olympic gold medal, there is a difference. So these are things that you need to understand that holds sports ministry. SAI, on the other hand, Sports Authority India, helps you with the building of athletes. So they help more on the manufacturing side of it. They help you with the infrastructure side of it. So they are more on that. That helps the facilities. Okay,
like building up of courts or
yes,
like
also on the coaches. These are the structure that is this is the structure that is functional. On the other hand, IOA, that is Indian Olympic Association, is a signatory body, but it's the most important body.
Okay.
So imagine IOA is a head of all the authorities in India. Right now, if let's say I play badminton, for me, I represent state, that is Maharashtra State Association Badminton. Okay. Above that, there is a Indian Badminton Association, simple, and then there is a IOA. So IOA will ask Indian Badminton Association, who do you think we should send for this particular tournament? And that plays a very important role. Now, who's most important person in that particular sport? It's someone who's leading the federation, who's a president or a secretary or treasurer. They are the people who are deciding. So when you say ki at what level, and is it 4 years you're preparing, and after that you are not actually getting the chance, is because these people felt that there's another person who can actually do the job very well, or they have their own personal agenda, and that's how it is done. So that's the ugly truth. So even if you're focusing 4 years, you're giving your blood, sweat, and money for this, and you're doing it very good. But are you aware about this? Ki actually it's your federation who can actually change this. So it's not IOA, it's actually your federation head. So how good you are in front of them plays very important. So you know it's ugly, it's a gray area, but I'm discussing it. That if they are not seeing the potential, then they will never push you. So your behavior also matters. Your how exactly they are pursuing you as an asset is also important. And then there is of course the corruption and everything. But I'm not touching that. I'm just saying as an athlete, what you can do if there is someone equally talented competing with you, how exactly you are ahead of him is because of you have some brand value. You people know you. Then the odds are always in your favor. Even if that person is pouring money, it doesn't matter. You need to be a brand. Then the authority has to consider you first. Then the IO will act upon it, and that's it. But if you don't know this structure, it's always going to be difficult.
So first it's at the root level where you prepare,
Yes.
right? So
No,
that is the ground where
still
you
there.
okay.
Hierarchy is still there. You you take a sport,
Hmm.
you start pursuing the sport, you represent first at a district level, then you, let's say, compete good with district, you move to state, you play well, then you move to zones. If it's a big sport, I'll say badminton is a big sport, so there are zones as well. Otherwise, it can directly be nationals, and then there will be international. But the international, the leap that you need, it's very tough. Because now that if you want to do it privately, you need to have money.
Right.
And everything you're doing is for money. So that means you don't have it right now. So then how you can go with this structure? And now you are a national player from Maharashtra. There is a national player from Gujarat or Madhya Pradesh or whatever. And then you are going and in front of the authorities. It is difficult because they're like, yeah, you have what similar results. You're playing good. They're also having, let's say, 10 trophies. You also 10 trophies. Then it matters.
Okay.
But on the politics side of it, it's ugly because the structure I said, the top to bottom, if the sports authority, the federation of your sport at the India level, that's the same structure happening at your state level. That's the same structure happening at the district level. So how exactly national team is built? Like in the Chak De, they ask you, na, ki, your name and where you're from. They say, yeah,
Right,
Punjab.
from the state.
So you're supposed to say you're from India. So it's there. It's good. It's fiction. But in reality, these things matter because they have a decision. They have a power to decide. So you need to actually uplift yourself, and you have to outperform. There is no way. I'm not saying this is the easy way. You do not perform, you win nothing, and you just be a brand, massive brand, and you go and they will give you no. The
Right.
results has to be there. You still need to be a better athlete than others. But if there is someone at your level or someone little ahead of you, doesn't matter when you have something that they don't.
Right.
That is you being a brand.
That's nice. I mean, it has opened my eyes. I think a lot of insight. No. But then that definitely breaks up of how people see selection processes. Maybe you said it right that how much do we understand the selection processes? Like it's very easy to go down and say that, hey, I didn't get selected, just like we used to. If I go to the grassroots level, it started from schools, right, where we used to get selected for a particular thing or not. Definitely the head of a particular activity will see what you're good at, and then only because the results depend on the person being selected. So definitely bringing your own building your own brand, or uh, bringing it to a stage where no one can neglect you, if I say like that, right? Whatever you are doing, whatever the habits that you have, the discipline that you carry, especially when it comes to sports, because it's an everyday activity. It's not just like you will go out of the blue and you will win the championship. I think each sports person, as far as I have literally studied about a few, uh, most of their masters spent hours mastering their journey, right? Mastering the sport. So it's definitely something that that leads to knowing more people knowing about what you are and how you're building it, how serious you are about a particular sport.
And even if you're not, and there is someone else who's doing it better than you,
Hmm.
that's also a defeat you have to take. So it's not just your on-field defeat. Let's say I lost a match, I go back, I analyze. These are the mistakes. This is how there was a momentum shift and I was not ready for it. Maybe I zoned out, I was not in my rhythm, whatever. Similarly, in this selection process, in the sponsorship, this is also defeats will help you, because what exactly I was supposed to do and this person or this athlete was doing, can you work on that in hindsight? If you can, then you are going holistically,
Right.
because now there are two, on code, off code. Both you are doing well, okay. Then maybe not now, but
Right.
yes, there will be tomorrow where you'll be good.
Right. So let's shift gears to something more big and optimistic when it comes to a very cheerful country like India, where we celebrate so many festivals and we celebrate sports as well, right? So when it comes to sports, India sees a good financial inflow in terms of sports, so it's definitely building up an economy. Whereas also these days, specifically in recent years from 2020, I believe after COVID till now, we have seen n number of events where Indian athletes have gone out at the international levels and really played well, brought laurels to the country, became a name not only for themselves but also for the country in hand, right? So if we talk about the sports right now, for example, like we were discussing chess a few minutes before, right? We have discussed, like if we speak about wrestling, for example, we discussed tennis. It could be the hockey game that we normally treat as our national game, but then overpowered by cricket fans, definitely. So there are so many sports that are emerging. There's pickleball, right? That's emerging into our country now. So what do you feel is the market of these upcoming sports? Like, you know, how well are they being accepted by the newer generation? Like, is new generation looking out for new sports to explore and play and move around?
Well, absolutely. I think the answer is absolutely. I will come to pickleball later, but I think the first and foremost is the sports industry in India is now getting massive. And it's not post COVID. It started maybe around 2014, 2015. I
Okay.
think from there that this would be our third edition of Olympics. You'll see. It's not number of medals. Of course, number of medals is something that as a layman we see. Okay, last edition we did well. This edition, no. The thing you have to check is the our contingent. How many people we sang? How many people got selected? That's very important. If our number is big, that means we are growing in sports.
Right.
Because right initially we used to say maybe three edition back, Saina Nehwal will get a medal. That's it. That's the statement. Rest we were not sure. You're not sure if hockey will get it. You're not sure if this particular sport will do it. No. Only one sport we were confident because Saina was at her prime.
Peak.
Then later, when the next edition happened, we were confident that PV Sindhu will also win a medal. We will also get a medal in hockey. We will also get medal in javelin throw. We were sure about it. So what exactly happened? So there is a scheme called TOPS. So TOPS scheme was started after 2014, and that's a very good scheme where there's a top athlete. You always see, even if you see the hashtags of the pro players like Laksh Sen or whatever players who are representing Chirag, Laksh, all of them, there is always a hashtag TOPS athlete. So TOPS is a scheme created by our government. When you became a TOPS athlete, you get salaried. Okay, I think I don't know the exact number, but it's some 65,000, 75,000 a month. Plus 3 months in the entire year. You can select the country that you want to be trained at.
Okay.
And the country will pay you and your
So government will pay.
yes, and you can go. So what more do you need? Like
That's nice.
3 months, our Neeraj in Germany is training.
Okay.
Definitely will give the results because it's not like we are inadequate with our facilities, but definitely they are doing something better. So if you are going there, training at the best facility, state of the art facility, so it's not they are better or we are weak. It's just we don't have that right now.
Right.
We will build it definitely.
The capabilities.
Yes,
Yeah.
but right now someone has it. There is a next edition coming in. Just because I'm losing this because this country had it, let me go there then. And it will work. Now the pickleball. Oh my god. So I think pickleball I know I got to know about this sport. I think 4 or 5 years back, way before the hype was there. Because I'm someone who follows tennis religiously. Even if I don't want to, let's be honest, if your brother is an international player, you have to watch tennis. Even if there is something important happening, we have to watch tennis. And Grand Slam is something you cannot miss. Okay, so we will watch. The TV will be 24 hours on, and we have to watch tennis. That's how it works in my house. So now that you follow religiously the tennis in my family, we also know that there are tennis players who are also promoting other games. So we got to know, okay, there was a video of Federer playing pickleball long back, because pickleball actually started as a volley game for tennis. So in tennis, if you see the tennis court, there is a small box that's a service box. It's called as volley, where you go there, stand there, and you hit directly. It's called volley. So for old people in US, of course, tennis is a game that is physically exhausting. So you have to wait, and there is a follow through, there is a rhythm, and it will move you from one court to the another. So maybe in a one rally you will be done. But when you're playing volley, you don't have to burn those many calories. You don't have to move a lot. So let's make it as shorter. That's how the volley game actually helped pickleball. There's also a story about pickleball that there was a Mexican prince, and his dog was name was Pickle, and he used to take the ball and used to run away. So they used to call him Pickle. So that can also be true. We don't know the real story. That's a fact. But how US picked up this sport is because US tennis circuit is massive, and people who are getting old, they didn't want to run, so they let's shorten the area, let's reduce this and play. Now when it comes to the market, well, pickleball is growing faster than anything. I would say it's COVID now. In a sport metaphor, it's a COVID, because trust me, it is everyone is building courts, everyone is playing the sport. And reason it is getting this is because everyone is a pickleball player, because it's very easy to adapt. People who play the sport, I think they will agree this, that pickleball is very easy to learn, but it's very tough to master. But that's okay, because right now the market is for leisure and beginners. So do they really want to go and compete? No. So if I want to play, like
Could be a less game.
four of us,
Yeah.
we want to play, then okay, no?
Just like carom or
Yeah,
other traditional games
exactly.
that we're getting bored, why not play something?
Because earlier carom was something that we were playing for
Home
for
sports.
fun.
Yeah.
Now imagine put your social media and virality into it, and you're playing a sport that is getting a hype. Then the four people are not playing carom. Now they're playing pickleball because it's cool, but it's also easy. And any sport, I'm not saying just pickleball, you play any sport, it will give you that adrenaline. There is a kick, because that's why we love sports, right?
Right.
Because there's a joy. It's not about winning or losing. It's about just playing.
Just getting into it. Yeah.
So you're playing a sport, that is one. That sport is getting hype, two. And fourth and most important, that is happening in Mumbai at least, that people are actually meeting on dates or business meets on pickle or paddle sports. And that's a common thing, that let's go for a coffee, let's do drinks. No, let's go for a pickleball.
Right.
Because you are not exhausting, you're still yourself, you're not exhausted, and you're still having this chat, and you're open, you're in front of them, you're playing, you're open. So definitely this sport is gonna grow faster, bigger, more bigger. And there are talks now, I think maybe not the LA one, but I'm sure the Brisbane, no, not it's not Brisbane. The next edition is going to be Australia. So there we will have pickleball, is what people are discussing. But again, there's no concrete statement coming from any federation. So let's go about it. But yeah, sport, I think it's massive. The market itself is massive. The equipment market, the merchandising market, the court market, the players market, of course, the sponsorship, the endorsement, anything.
Right. So I guess like even in fact I was reading one more report that said like after healthcare and education, sports come under the third category where like more massive business opportunities are building up when it comes to the next 5
It's the
years.
same hierarchy for corruption, if you know. That's fact concerned.
That's right. That's right. So, like for sports like pickleball that we were speaking, and you were taking the example of a city like Bombay in India. But then at the same time, recently I just visited my hometown, which is a city in Madhya Pradesh, that's Bhopal. And there, me and my brother, we went up to a community, a gaming community where it's like a community hall, a sports club kind of a thing, right? And there they have set up this new pickleball court. And my brother, being a table tennis player, like just for fun, he just takes it as an option for gymming sometimes. But then that's how it is. So he just gets interested into this, and then he's like So I just asked him, like how do you guys play it? Like is there any coach or like how it's happening? So he's like, no, we just stand. We 4 people are there, and then we are playing. So I mean, it's not just a sport which is becoming popular somewhere in bigger cities, but after seeing it at my own hometown, I was like, okay, things are building up, like around sports. So and the way, like it's not just sports. I recently also visited the sports club there, and we realized that the pool length that they have when it comes to swimming pool, because training my daughter for swimming. So like the pool length that they have is a quite good one, like a good pool length that they have for kids specifically who are learning and who want to learn and coach and move forward. So India, as we see, I believe somewhere we are definitely building up facilities as well, as you said, like the departments, maybe they are doing something right, or maybe at least the state authorities or the civic bodies at the city level are at least trying to do their parts. How far these are maintained, uh, how better can we make it in terms of coaching people professionally is another ball game differently, because that takes the game at another level. So that we'll be watching in the years to come, I guess, with the younger generations. But definitely do also feel there are opportunities when it comes to manufacturing of sports kit, because I remember in the initial start of our conversation you just said you had to bring in a tennis bat and then pay a custom duty of 25K to it, right? So that was actually double the cost of the racket. So how far do you think that that manufacturing of kit is that market also a good market for India? Like, can we do it?
Yes, absolutely. I think I'll go back to one more conversation that we had is about Neeraj, how he's going to Germany. So there are the facilities that are there. So we are also building it. So
Right.
it will always be some part of the world. Like let's say if you see badminton, it's dominantly uh, owned by China. Okay. Any racket you have, even the rackets that we get at a cheaper rate, they are white labeled, but they are all made in China because they control it.
Okay.
But for cricket, it's India. Now it's India.
Right.
For football, it's France or Italy because they are someone who pushed this sport more. For them, it's big. So if there is a one country doing it and they have whatever required, then why can't we have it? So that's the mindset. Second, potential of the market. So there are few people, let's say, let's go back to the origin of India or something, how Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani saw the potential of polyester and how he brought it to India, how the industry built. So there are people who are seeing this, they're visionary, they know the potential of the sport or potential of something specific in the particular sport. In one sport, there is not just one equipment that is being used. There are multiple equipments. And even if you see for any sport, like let's say I consider badminton. Let's say for me, Yonex rackets are the best. Let's consider. But maybe I'm more comfortable with leaning as my shoes. Maybe I'm more comfortable with maybe Head or any other brand as my jersey because they have a bet. So there is always a potential. Like maybe Skechers is actually good for walking shoes and Nike is actually good for running. They both have running and walking in them.
Obviously.
So it's you. So the industry will evolve itself when you understand the potential. Now coming back to India, definitely I think all these small things that we are saying, like how cricket is getting bigger and how this prize pool is getting bigger, how the top scheme is performing, how these authorities are now more structured, more aligned. These things actually help the sport grow, help the athlete at least to dream. Like, let's say someone who was born in Satara, now moved to Mumbai, who played badminton throughout his life. Now I'm playing a third world sport, beach tennis, which is massive in Europe, not there in India, now not there in Indian subcontinent. Now it's there in Thailand and Japan, let's say.
Right.
But I'm dreaming of it, right? I still, of course,
If you get an opportunity, you'll be like, yes, I want to go.
yes, 100%. That's a fact. That's a fact. But I'm saying ki, even though I paid extra for the custom duty, it was worth it. Because now, because of me, there are people playing. There is a body that is working for beach tennis in India. So I think I did something did
Something good happened.
so it's okay. But that has to be there. And sport industry is gonna be like, at least for the manufacturing side, there's always a demand, because when you see an athlete, it's 1% of people playing the sport.
Okay.
It's athlete is a 1% category. Okay, intermediate is maybe 10 or 20%, and the rest all are leisure and beginners. So that's the market. So even if in badminton you call it joint racket, that's the racket you get at the cheaper level, and without joint are graphite rackets. So of course I want to make graphite rackets and I want best athlete to play with the racket. Okay, great. But there are still brands like Silvers, you can imagine. That's the brand you will get if you go to local store. That's the brand you get at the joint racket. They are having more market share than maybe some of the top brands who are competing with Yonex in India, because that's the market.
Right.
So if you don't know, and if you cannot go which exactly audience you're catering, if you're catering leisure to beginner, are you catering beginner to intermediate, are you catering intermediate to athlete, or are you just catering athlete? Then what risk are you taking? What level of marketing you have to do? You have to understand.
Right. Okay, so can we now throw some light on the fourth side of, or the fourth pillar of the sports business in India, that is sports management? Because that's again very important aspect whenever we invite international players to our country, to our stadiums, among our crowd, right? So how and what are the responsibilities that a sports event management company takes, and like how these things can be responsible to maybe popularize a sport, or maybe like make it more Indian rooted, make it worthwhile for India to grow.
Uh, of course, well, sports event side is growing. It is giving us more opportunities, and it's also helping the sport to be glorified. So when we say the event side, maybe few years back when IPL was not there, maybe cricket in India was also not that massive.
Right.
Now that there is a pro kabaddi, the people pursuing kabaddi is different. Now there is a pro, let's say badminton league, people are pursuing differently. So it's gonna happen, and the league system and the event side of, definitely it's gonna help the economy and also the athlete and the company. And let's go to the smallest side, when how you handle the sports event. So sports event has a very simple 4 pillars. One is people, like how you gonna bring more people. Let's say I'm organizing anything, let's say table tennis tournament. Okay, how people are gonna come to the event? So first is the creative or the design or maybe the ad, so people are aware. Second, pricing. So very simple, the smallest tournament, let's say I rented out a table tennis arena. I also required few balls, rackets people will bring. Even if I need, I'll buy 2 more rackets. So that's our money that is invested. Then how much money do you want to make out of it? What's the price that is going per person? Let's say 500 rupees is the entry fee market. So if I put 500, how much I'm gonna make? So that's how the pricing works. Then you decide the entry fee for it. The third is most important is the facility, like how you book the facility. It plays very important role. And fourth, most important is the level, that how you're pushing that. Okay, if you have that, even if it's a small event, it's a big event, it's all same. It's just number of people working, the level of it, how media is there, is everything. But if you don't have these four pillars ready with you, you're gonna fail even you're making a big event or even if you're making a small district tournament or anything. Okay. Now that these four pillars are there, the sports management side, that's also one more thing that I think it's very important that people who are working on the sports management side for the event are not actually from sports management side. Like
Okay.
not all of them.
Right.
Okay, because it's still a new age, new era concept. That sports management is a rising field, but it's still very new. So most of people who are at the senior management of it are not actually from sports management. They are from different background, but they have pursued it, they have understood, they have cracked it, and now they're doing it. Some of them have not. So there are consequences, we know it. But that's very important. So now that there is a fixed structure, there is a academic course we have built, definitely the people who have now learned and they are getting the let's say they are at the uh, associate job, they are at the uh, bottom of the hierarchy. Once they develop and they go at the management level, once they own it, I think the industry will be different. It will be more structured, it will be more important for everyone. Now, when we say the managing the event side, definitely you are bringing, let's say, other people from the foreigners coming in, the top athletes are coming in, whatnot, you're doing it. Why are we doing this? It's all because of we want to generate more money. So now the event is no longer just a sport. Okay, like, okay, what's the tip? Let's say cricket. Okay, cricket, we are doing a ODI. Simple, we are doing it मेरे मोहल्ले में कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, 50 ओवर का मैच मेरे मोहल्ले में, क्या फर्क, कुछ नहीं है, 11 प्लेयर रहेंगे, दे विल ऑल बैट, देयर विल बी बॉलर्स, दे विल बॉल, दैट्स इट. Is this a event? No. The event is the pre-event side, where who all are coming for the opening ceremony. There's a Shreya Ghoshal coming in, there is a Shankar Mahadevan coming in. Okay, perfect. What is the closing ceremony? How are you actually glorifying? So there is a Harsha Bhogle who's announcing it. There is a earlier it was just a man of the series or man of the match. Now there is a best catch. There is
The award
a
system.
exactly.
Yeah.
The person who
Reward.
at maximum dot balls, he's getting some 1 lakh or 10 lakh rupees check. So how we are making it bigger is very important. And that's something that every management side or someone who's managing event needs to understand. Ki even if it's a small thing, how I can actually make it big. And these are very small things, like calling these things are actually not going to burn a lot of money. But when you're doing the next event, that actually helps the other sponsors to see, oh, they're actually giving more than what others are doing. Like offering a buffet. I can give you best dish, but there is always someone who's giving a particular dish. So I have to pick. But there's someone who's giving a buffet, I'm okay. So even as a to get the sponsor for the event, what more you're giving, that's still the same. Like even for an athlete, even for the event, you have to understand that there is a work going on outside the sport. And if you're trying to cover that, maximum if you cover it, you will get it.
Right. Oh, interesting. So, like when you were talking about the the management side on how different you can execute a particular event, that's what it matters, right?
Right.
Okay. I believe, yes, a lot of event businesses today, although some of it they might be doing it, but most of it still lack a basic understanding of how a particular sport event needs to go forward. And I think when it comes to newer sports that we were just talking a few minutes back, that when it comes to newer sports like hyping up a game like pickleball or maybe something which could be more professionalized and could be brought to light, I believe management companies play a key role there, right? Yeah, because most of the media importance comes from a mass scale event that you do, like, and especially in India, it's always about the pomp and show that we can gather, whether वो दिवाली का festival हो या किसी की शादी हो when it comes to Ambani wedding, or I mean anything, like, it could be anything.
Simple, dikhega to bikega.
Huh.
That's how it functions.
Right. Okay. So, a very nice, I believe it's a very nice opportunity for the Indian event management companies, where even the sports side could be glorified. It could be bought in front of the general public in a way where people see sports also as something which could be a serious career option to be taken forward, right? So, but then having said that, like, because most of the time when we talk about career options, people are like कि यार क्या मिलेगा तुमको क्रिकेट खेल के? I'm sure मतलब कभी ना कभी आपके पेरेंट्स ने भी ये क्वेश्चन जरूर उठाया होगा, because the time when we come from, like, being in a similar, I guess, similar age factors. Okay, so the time when we come from, I believe parents का वो एक होता था ना कि like, doctor, engineer, CA या accountant, and like, दुनिया वहीं खत्म हो जाती थी, right? Okay, उससे आगे if we go on this, they were like, अरे पढ़ाई में अच्छा नहीं होगा ना, इसीलिए like, बच्चा खेलने निकल गया. और बच्चा करता क्या था, दिन भर तो गली में क्रिकेट खेलता था, right? That's how, like, people used to perceive, as compared to today, when I see my own cousin sister, like, she's making her son being trained at a proper tournament level for cricket, right? And he's also performing very well apart from his studies. And today kids also, I believe, somewhere the newer generation understands when they need to put a break, how they need to balance. I mean, they're gifted these days, I don't know how, but then somehow they are gifted with these capabilities that they can manage out several things looking at the current generation, right? But then back then, when there were no such career options, कि like, कितना ही payment मिलेगा, let's come on that point where, like, how actually the payment is decided. Like, how do we pay reward to a particular sports person, like, for example? Is it in the form of a salary? Like you said, the people who come under the tops list, they are given certain amount of fixed amount, right? Like, But I believe for most of the sports person, it is somehow the tournaments that you play. I don't know. I might be wrong.
Well, you're partially wrong because no athlete actually gets paid. That's the bottom line. Okay.
That's shocking.
Yes. Except nationals, even the amount you get paid is bare minimum. So, and if you're actually surviving on prize money, then definitely. So, still the the door is not wide open. Still better than what when we were deciding the career options. It's still better than that, but it's still not as good as it should be. Back in the days, of course, people were skeptical because the opportunities were not there, and there were no enough case studies also. Like we used to see ki someone like in the entire district, one of them actually went and played Ranji, and someone from the state or 3-4 people from the state actually represented India. So then you go and think, does my child has to go through this? And he's passionate, I understand, but that will be difficult. So they will always push for a traditional way, and that is how it functioned. Now the scenario is different because now it's all there on media, it's all there, and we know it. What exactly we have to do. There are people also working. So industry is also not just that athlete. Right now, if I am an athlete, I pursued this and I did not become athlete. Okay. Now I have to take something traditional. That was the way. Now there are other things. There is a sports psychology. There is a merchandising. There is a event side of it. There is a manufacturing side of it. Even being an athlete, even if I take any of these streams, I'm still ahead of others. Because what exactly they are doing, they're helping the sport. I was an athlete, my brain is faster than yours because I played the sport. So if you need to understand what exactly are the other options, parallel options, someone who was a coach becomes who will become a great coach. So there is an option. Of course, it's not the level you wanted. Of course, it is disheartening that I wanted to compete at a level and I did not. Now I'm settling for being a coach or I'm doing this. But at least you're contributing to this ecosystem because your credibility was higher because you were a sportsman. You played it, right? Now very simple analogy we can give to this entire problem, that how exactly the new era, the new athletes are coming in and how they're pursuing this. Okay, for them, they have understood that money is not coming just being an athlete. Now that the question, the thing I started saying at the beginning of this conversation, that if I don't know that how exactly I'm getting paid, then I will always question. So it's not about potential, it's about doubt, because I don't have the right answers. People don't know from where they can get the right answers. But trust me, now the chat GPT and everything, it has it. You try it. And as I know it's something that is scary, but it's
So, like,
just
what
Google
what
search.
what does it tell you?
You search, you put the prompt that you exactly what you feel. What exactly career options. You try it.
So,
Trust
like,
me.
does it give you the career options, or like, is it like, how do you earn money being a cricketer?
No. It will not. It will not. But it will at least, like, it's also about how you pursue. Let's say we are discussing this. You are sharing some knowledge. I'm also sharing some knowledge. But maybe 50% of it is something that we are pursuing actually. And that's how it works. So even when you're reading something, it's not how it is written. It's also how I am actually narrating in my head. So these things will help you if you are struggling. So I'm just trying to help someone who's having the doubt that what exactly I need to do to get more money out of the industry. It's not because of the sport, it's also about the ecosystem. So if you are trying to achieve even the different things like being a sportsman and plus coach, of course you're getting more money. Being a sportsman and also working with some company who's into sports manufacturing, also you're getting money. You're still closer to your dream. You're still helping the entire ecosystem. So these things will help you. And the new age kids, of course, they know it. So that's why they're getting a better result because they understand the brand value, their own value, how exactly they have to pursue it. So it will change.
Right.
But right now, the people who are in between, they don't know. So they have to. If they are not figuring it out, then nobody else will. Because if you reach out to others who are from the similar generation, who are facing the similar problem, there's no solution on it.
Right.
There's no one particular solution on it. So
Yeah, I mean, also I feel on the contradictory, there could be moments where, like, there are players who are playing a same game at a same age with the same compatibilities or the same expertise, but at the same time you will see one of them becoming utmost popular, and, like, like, for example, again, like, Virat and Rohit,
okay.
right? Okay. Yeah, for that matter. Uh People might have similar kind of expertise, or, like, but then the way one person glorifies a particular, or maybe, like, puts forward ki ha, I do all of this in order to reach, right, puts forwards a brand name to his own name, saying that, uh, I know what I'm playing, becoming the owner of, like, the matches that they play, or the way they respond to a ball coming on the pitch, right? So owning that game by themselves, telling that I know what I'm doing, right? Does that also bring confidence in terms of, like, other brands in settling them as the co-founders, or, like, merging with them to become the entrepreneurs? Because you've recently seen these examples. I mean, to talk about Virat, like, after getting sponsored into, after working with Puma for, I mean, closing a huge crores, some few crores of deal, right? And then after that, today he has, I mean, he's heading to starting his own footwear brand in athletics, right? Yeah. So, somewhere, does this also bring in trust? A personal brand also brings in trust of other entrepreneurs to merge with you and make you a co-founder, or, like, the brand ambassador of the brand, or, I mean, these are also huge earning opportunities, right?
That's this is interesting because these like again when we are discussing this for someone who's established athlete, uh, people, or at least people who are gonna start a business with that particular person, they also know the mindset. So they're also getting them on board. That means they're getting someone who's definitely gonna add value. Okay. and you're getting a unpaid brand image. Like you're getting this one co-founder, but whose face is actually gonna sell a lot of things. So you're getting him for free. So it's good. But when you go on a grassroots level, being an athlete actually helps you to be a better person because you have a discipline, you understand things, you take failures very, I won't say lightly, but you can deal with it very easily. And these are the qualities you possess. Because what you do in your being an athlete is every day I go and lose. I'm okay with it. Or even if there is a victory, next match I'm losing it. So the victory was for what? For 1 hour or 15 minutes? No. So, anyways, these things will be something that as an athlete, it always helps. Now that you became an established athlete, definitely even any brand who's coming on board, they're always happy to be associated with any sports person because they know that they can handle it. That's a very good thing. Now to this, just to give it a more light on this, it's not just Virat Kohli who have done it.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
started
there are
from
many.
long back.
Right.
Now Federer is also doing it.
Yeah.
So they are not actually being with Nike. Now he also started his own brand.
Own brand.
So it is a thing. And now we understand that being an entrepreneur is actually something that will help you. So now that for people who are struggling at the sports industry, okay, the best case scenario would be to work around the industry. But someone who's established or someone who is even not established but who has the clarity, they can actually start a sports related brand because again the core is that you played the sport at a level where you risk everything you have to understand the sport better. So you're already ahead. So try this. And it always works in your favor because for me, if I start a sports brand, let's say I start anything, badminton racket. I'm sorry, I'm just going back to the badminton racket.
No issues.
Let's go with that. I want to start it. For me, I don't have to go and sit for some business school to tell me understand the market. What is market? Myself. Because I know what exactly I needed when I was playing. Right? Simple. I have the solution. What exactly marketing I have to do? Oh, if I was actually someone who was going to start playing badminton, where exactly I would go and search? Was it Amazon or was it a local store? Okay, it was a local store. I went local store. Can I place it there? So you yourself have so many options. So you don't have to rely on it. So when you start this, or even if you join a firm that is working around this, you are already an asset. So it's not the industry itself, it's you who decides.
So you can still be connected to the sports that you love.
When you say that you general in a traditional way that पढ़ाई में अच्छा नहीं था इसलिए ये किया, तो अगर तुम नहीं है पढ़ाई में अच्छा तो ये कर लो because this will work.
Great. Nice. So nice comparatives, I believe. And but then don't you feel it would be little bit of challenging to go in from a physical kind of or a sports kind of a background which is so physically involving, right? Whereas when it comes to business, it's all about decision making and handling your team, becoming a leader. Yeah, I do understand that leadership opportunities do come at sport level also, but then those leaderships are different. I mean, different as compared to when it comes to monitoring a team and watching the X's and the ups and downs in the Excel, right?
Definitely. But of course, I think we are circling back to the same thing because if you are anyways gonna quit, or you're gonna not gonna pursue the sport anymore, it's better to be closer to the sport rather than doing something completely different. Because it's not about ease, but it's also because you will understand it better, no? Because you know that the opportunities are still there. It's still a rising field. So it means that whatever I'm doing right now, even if I did not pursue it as a career, I maybe whatever reason I had to stop playing the sport professionally, it will be good because I understand ki okay, Dhoni was someone who was playing a massive tennis cricket, and it's a bigger market. Then he wanted to play professionally. He could not. He became a TC. But then again, he went back to cricket. Okay, that's the story. That's his story. But if you ask Dhoni that he failed, let's consider he did not become a cricketer, and give him an option and tell him if can you be a TC or can you be associated with the sport, I would still say he would be closer to the sport
Right.
because that's the joy. I would rather prefer.
Hmm.
That's like now why I'm bringing Mr. Dhoni.
Right. Right.
But I will say I will not
Hmm.
because I feel I should be closer to it because there's a joy every day. Why are you working? That's the question everyone will ask. No,
Hmm.
why are you going to the work tomorrow? Like, what's the motivation you have?
Hmm.
Good, it's sport. I love it. I'll go.
That's
It's
right.
very simple.
In fact, this brings me to a very important aspect, like, because when I talk to new age entrepreneurs today, okay, right? These are new generation entrepreneurs starting their own businesses. Most of them are digital models. Like, people get saturated very fast of the thing that they are doing, right? Okay, they get attracted to the newer things that are happening. Uh, and sometimes I've seen switches which are like massive. Like, you were a IT person, you're going into sales, like never talking to people to continuously talking to people. There are situations where I have seen my clients who come to me like that, hey, I'm starting a particular software company or a digital marketing agency, and I'm like, what was your background, or like, how did you, from where are you coming in? And they tell me that they are coming in from a psychology background. Now, from a psychology background, moving to a marketing agency, which involves so much of creative work, and there you were working alone just with a mind person. I mean, people are sometimes like, this the newer generation, because of the options being readily available, like, you can make a switch quickly. Parents have become more comfortable to the idea of their kids starting a startup. It has become a what should I say, a fam talk also sometimes, like, oh, what my daughter is doing, oh, what my son is doing. I mean, it is being hyped there too. Like, it's becoming a room talk now, where dinner table talk, where, like, families are meeting and they're like, "Hey, तुम्हारा बेटा क्या कर रहा है?" So now no one likes to say कि हाँ वो, like, unless and until they're going to the US for studies, or like, something massive is happening. Most of the families now these days, the dogs are like, अरे हाँ मेरा बेटा तो ये कर रहा है, and parents feel proud about it. But on the other hand, the new age generation is just what should I say? They are playing pass the parcels kind of thing. Like, अच्छा ठीक है तुम ये कर रहे हो, so like, let me also come together and let me also do it. But then on the other side, the points that you said, like, if you love a sport, if you have done it, if you have learned it, it's better you go to that field only, because that will give you massive value.
You are restricted to.
Huh,
Definitely,
but
you
then
can do other things.
yeah.
But I'm saying ki if you're feeling that you're having that self doubt,
Hmm.
I would say explore.
No, even the same thing happens with us also. Like, whenever I see a massive contradiction, I'm like, bro, if you can go back down 2 years down, go back and start something that is more relevant in the knowledge that you have gained. You spent 12 years gaining that knowledge, right? 3 years of practice, 3 years of your degree, 2 years of your school levels. You spent 7, 8, 10 years, and then you are massively changing to something which is just because it's working in the world era. I don't know how many. I mean, I've got only 10% people, honestly speaking, who have really made it after making a massive switch. When it comes to, like, this is my generic observation with the people that I have talked. Most of them, either if they have it, they have put in their blood and sweat, everything, and then made it successful, or else ultimately they had to switch over and start something which was much more sustainable for themselves as a founder. So a very a good thing that you said, and it
I think
and it coincidentally correlates.
I have one thing that I will add is whatever you do in life, it will never go for waste, right?
Hmm.
So even if people are making massive changes or let's say smaller changes,
Hmm.
what you learn in your previous job, in your academics, and maybe what you felt around your society friend, it's all learning.
Hmm.
It all works when you, let's say, like I understand someone is doing from IT to sales, but there are things that he have maybe observed around it to say that okay, when I go to sales, I can actually apply this better than others
Hmm.
because people who are actually pursuing sales they did it like this. Maybe I am coming from this and I am little better. So yeah, I understand. The numbers can be right, only 10%, I understand. But nothing goes for waste. I mean, I have changed careers in my life to kill this. Okay, I need to be closer to sports. So I played sports. I did different things. Now I'm back to sports. So I'm happy. So I'm not saying I'll end up being in the sports industry. I might do something else. I think I was telling you that I'm planning actually to go to farming side, and that's fine. I'm okay with it because that's the joy, right?
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Right. Okay. Any which way. So, we have always been playing by rules, right? Like when it comes to sports, also, there are some rules that you have to follow, right? What is, like, if I ask you a weird question, like, what is one rule that you would like to break? Like, that, oh, agar ye nahi hota na, तो I would have, like, done something massive. So, is there something that needs a massive change when it comes to the rule book of sports? It may be any sport. Maybe a particular one, maybe generic.
I don't think a rule book of sport should be changed because honestly, rules are something that keep on changing according to convenience, according to the technology or the development infrastructure evolution, whatever you added. Because back then there was no helmets. Maybe someone got a hit on the head. Now there is a helmet mandatory. Even if the strap is not open, you're out. So these are the rules added. So I won't say I will change it, but definitely if something that I can change in the industry, then I would say people who are at the level or they are at the authority level or at the position to decide the fate of the sport or the fate of the athletes, I think they should be from the sports background. If they are coming from politics, they are getting, and if let's be honest, but in the in our Indian politics or in our structure of government, sports minister is actually niche important. There are other defense, healthcare, transport, everything is very big as a department. Sports is small. So most of time, someone who's getting a sports ministry at his side, not at the central level, but at the state level, it comes as a charity because he was someone or she was someone we wanted to give a, a ministry. So we are giving it to that person because we don't want to. It's also something कि बुरा नहीं लगना चाहिए कि ये भी हमारे पार्टी में मिनिस्ट्री देना है तो इन्हें दे दिया and it affects because then they are not it's not about capability. They can be great leader 100%, but they will never understand. And that's something I would love to change कि if you're becoming anything in sports ministry, play the goddamn sport at least for 2-3 years and play it in a way that don't call yourself passionate. Play it in a way that I was someone who wanted to become professional.
I was in the system.
Yes, some 1% at least कि ये करता तो शायद मेरा करियर मैं मिनिस्ट्री छोड़ के करियर मैं स्पोर्ट्स बनता वो लेवल पे खेल लो और फिर यू कैन मूव आई थिंक देन इट विल बी इजी फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस.
Nice, interesting. Okay. So, like, since we were talking about government also offers some grants to the players, right? How easily are they accessible or how sufficient they are for the players to survive?
Definitely it's not easily accessible because there's a lot of paperwork. And the paperwork is not just hectic. It's also the people who are working around that paperwork really don't want to do that. Okay. This is what I personally experience because there are two things. So I have went and plead to government for beach tennis and also for tennis for my brother. So now there are one sport that is established sport that is tennis, and there is a niche sport that is beach tennis, not as established. Now what is established is very simple. Established is a sport recognized by the country. So beach tennis is recognized by European nations. Okay, they play it. Right now in India, it's not a recognized sports. That means whatever happens, I will achieve great victories. I will not be qualified for Shiva Chhatrapati Award. I will not be qualified for any government grants, not for Dhyanchan, any awards, nothing. Because the sport is not recognized. But it is Now I'm working also for tennis. It is a recognized sport. It's horrible. The way they will treat you, it's horrible. So it's happening at the grassroots. So there is a, like, I've been to Shastri Bhavan, that is our India's what you call it, uh, it's Mantralaya of India. I've been there. I fought there. It's nothing, because in the end they will just do this.
Go to the next.
Yeah. So for beach tennis, beach tennis parent body is Tennis Federation.
Okay.
So right now beach tennis is not there in India. So the International Tennis Federation says that your tennis body will be acting body for your beach tennis. So when I went to there, they said you go to IOA. I went to IOA, they said you go to ITA, that is All India Tennis. When I went to ITA, they said we don't have the provision. So what's next? So it's okay.
Figure it out by
Yeah. So it's not just for the established sports, it's also for not so established. But it is changing. Okay, it is changing drastically, because now that we are talking out and out about corruption, and the diplomacy is not there in this conversation. But I will say ki, since the prize pool is bigger, they are helping. That's better. That's better than what it was.
Right.
Definitely, as an athlete, we are not supporting that. Okay, who wants to do that? But it is happening. But at least it's happening. Earlier, it was maybe 1 in 10. Now it's 2 in 10. Okay, I'm okay. Because there's one.
Something is shifting.
Yeah. So
Right.
take it.
Great. Wow. Okay. So thank you for giving so many insights. I mean, that's too much for for the whole load on the podcast. But then definitely we would like to go in with a small rapid fire before we let you, like, wind up with this. So are you ready? Yeah.
Wait, it is
Okay.
scary.
Yeah. Okay. One sport you wish you were better at.
Tennis.
Okay. Back again. I mean,
No.
the same sport.
No. So I play badminton and beach tennis. But trust me, my brother plays tennis. And tennis, I used to hate tennis because of him, because he's playing it. And there's always a competition where दोनों लड़के हैं, दोनों sports में हैं, दोनों झगड़े करते हैं. मतलब not with each other, but in general, we are on court, we are different. So we both wanted more trophies, but now that I see, tennis is a sport which actually will help you develop. It's an exhausting sport, so maybe I should have been good at it.
Good at it. Okay. Who would you like to play against? Like, who's your player, a dream player that you would like to play against?
I think Tawfiq Hidayat, a badminton player from Indonesia. He was my inspiration when I started playing badminton. And reason being, when I started, he had a fastest smash in the world, and his backhand smash is still a record. So maybe yes.
Nice. You go to pre-match meal.
I honestly avoid eating before match.
Oh, so you only
It's
drink.
weird. Yeah, because I don't like it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel a little acidic. Usually it's other way around, but I don't have
Skip a
any
meal.
specific meal. But if there is any meal, it should be 3-4 hours prior to the match. So I'm good. Otherwise, I don't like it.
Nice. One piece of advice that you would like to give the aspiring athletes.
I don't know. It's too soon for me because
But still, I mean, the kind of experience that you have had, there might be at least something that you can.
don't just work on the sports side. Like, don't just be a better athlete. And try to be a better marketeer. Like, even if it's tough, but it's necessary, because money is what is gonna help you with your wants, but not with your need, because need was your sport. You're doing it. But for your want, what are you doing? So be a better marketer.
Okay. What do you think is the best part about being an athlete?
Oh, you can take defeats really well.
Hmm.
Even if your life will give you some knockout punch.
Hmm.
But the best thing an athlete does is bounce back. He knows that he'll get up. He'll be like, okay, it was a bad day. Let me have another day and I will show it. It works.
Wow. So if you weren't an athlete, what would you be?
Well, the answer is very weird because I actually wanted to be a journalist.
Ah,
When, yeah, I was fascinated by it. But I think right now I would say I would love to be a farmer. Uh,
okay. So with that, we definitely do a wrap. But then definitely thank you so much for adding so many insightful thoughts to this conversation, because I believe, like, this is not just a conversation, but it has given us a various thought points where we literally need to go back, think, and then start moving forward with the recent, whether it be the recent events happening or whether it be the system changes. The overall ecosystem needs a lot when it comes to sports in India, right? And specifically when it comes to businesses running on sport, because economically, I feel India is getting a huge support from the sport events that we do, right? So thank you so much for adding the values that we could gather, and thank you so much for that being truthful in the conversation about what has happened, what can be better, how things go from one level to another, because not everyone actually speaks about it. It's easy to play blame games, or, like, be in controversies where people are like, okay, this happened because of this happens because of this, the system is bad, right? Instead of ranting out that the system is bad, why not build a system or build an ecosystem where sports could be a sustainable way of bringing in different aspects of life, whether it be being active physically, being active mentally, being mentally strong because of a sport, bringing up the future generations where people look sport as something which is not just an activity of leisure, but as a proper professional growth path for anyone. And I think if you really, really reach at good levels, it can totally change your life. Thank you so much for being in this episode with us.
Well, thank you so much for inviting. This is first time I'm doing the podcast, and I think honestly I enjoyed. And kudos to you and entire Satya Manthan team. I think you're doing fabulous job. I was not actually ready to open up this much, but I have no regrets for saying the truth of the industry, and I really, really want someone out there who's maybe just starting with the sports as a career, or someone who's struggling with it, or someone who's established, they all should feel and should act upon it. Maybe after listening to me, or in general, whatever things that I mentioned, I think it will help.
Okay, so thank you so much for being here for this episode. And with this episode, to all the viewers, definitely thank you so much for watching the episode till here so patiently. And do give us more questions, more hints on comments of what you would like to hear more from the next guest that come on Satya Manthan. Satya Manthan has always stood for the talks in reality. It's not just about the businesses and the models and the fame game around businesses, but we also do talk about how actually business ecosystems are building in India, what is consumerism, how consumerism is getting affected in Indian markets. And we would really, really love to dive deep into different industries. So, what's the next one that you would like to see? I'll wait for your comments down below this video. And do not fail to share this episode with someone who really loves sport or would love it to barge into the opportunity of running a sports business in India. That's for now. I'll see you with another episode of Satya Manthan.